Thanks for watching Newer News Echoes on World Affairs. What we do is to bring you the news all over the world and put in some analysis so that you can be well informed. My name is Shegun Johnson, and I have in the studio with me my colleagues, one in Lagos, Bidi Nana. Bidi, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Shegu. Good to have me here. Our viewers around the world, good morning. Let's do it again like always.
It's always a pleasure to have you, Bidi. In Milan, we have Mark. Mark Godwin, you are welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Shagun. Good morning, BD. It's good to see you guys again.
Same here.
So many things have happened in the last 1 week, not to talk about the earthquake from hell, but we are trying to make things happen. Yes, we also have in the studio Dr. Godwin Ibe, all the way from Moscow, Russia. Dr. Ibe, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I was just saying that too many things happened in the last 7 days, and one of them, this earthquake from hell that has claimed over 20,000 souls. But before we go to that, let's see how we correct things on Earth here that looks like an earthquake, but it is left to our viewers to determine how far we will not allow it to be an earthquake. And I'm talking about the Russia-Ukrainian war. We saw Zelenskyy coming into Europe in the last 72 hours. He first of all came to the United Kingdom and met with Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister. From there, he addressed the British Parliament and finally met with King Charles III. He left England and went straight to France, where he met with Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron and himself were in the same plane, and they went to Belgium to the European Parliament. One aim of Zelenskyy was to convince these European leaders to lend him some jet fighters. And let me first of all ask you, Dr. Ibe, what do you think that is doing to the image of Russia? And is Russia perturbed by his movement at all?
Besides, okay, first of all, in Russia, why Russia cares about its image is not something that only Russia has to worry about. Everyone, it's something that everybody tries to maintain their image, both in the West and the East. So Russia particularly doesn't owe anybody anything to defend that is more like unilateral. And now concerning the conflict that is going on, yes, it's Russia is worried, based on their public statement, is worried about the loss of lives, the increasing loss of lives. People are dying. I personally, for one, I understand all the geopolitical gains and all the interest, but the bottom line is that people are dying. Lots of people are dying, and leaders have to come together on the table and find some form of peace, dialogue without preconditions, and taking into account all the national security interests of both parties, and trying to find a way out. You must understand that while the West have said they would not supply tanks initially, especially about in Germany, they walked back on that. Now they say they don't supply planes. I think anyone believes that it's not possible, especially as you said that everything is on the table. But these things that are being supplied are not like cutting-edge new equipment. Things that are there for decades, which both parties have specialized in destroying. It's not something that will land on the field and people think, oh, how do we get that? How do we target that? The Russian side has said to be a legitimate target, and we don't want this to escalate more than it's escalating.
But Russia could have stopped now. If you don't want it to escalate, then stop bombing them. If you don't want it to escalate in Russia,
you know, you cannot tell the man who is a stranger or is someone who calls himself an enemy come to your doorstep and you don't fight back because this self-professed enemy of you. He calls himself an enemy of you, and expanding to your doorstep, and then you do not fight back, all in the name of peace. Peace at any cost is not sustainable. You have to be interested in the peace. You have to see the benefit of the peace. Everybody has to see the benefit of the peace. And that is why you have to come together and work out something that is sustainable, long-lasting.
Okay.
Really bring
I will come back to you, Dr. Ibe. I want to check from our colleagues whether they feel the same way like you. Bidi, the British Prime Minister and all the European leaders have not promised Zelenskyy any jet fighter. However, Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister, said, we are training some Ukrainian pilots within the possible human time. Now, listening to that, I can deduce from what is not said that when you train pilots, one day you will give him some jet fighters to use. And are you scared, Bidi, that this may escalate? Dr. Ebe said Russia doesn't want to escalate, but are you scared that it may escalate to the Third World War, where nuclear weapons will be used?
Of course, from the way things are going now, it might escalate. Yes, it will, because they are not coming direct to say, we're going to help you, we're going to assist you, but they are training some personnel that will help in this, because if you look at Russia, is not giving up anytime soon. And for the first time, this man is leaving Ukraine to make this visit. And he was well welcomed, if you look at it. He was well welcomed, he was well given attention to speak and to plead. And I think where he actually got them, he said that we share the same value. Europe is like a home to Ukraine. Do you understand? And he told them that this fight he's fighting is not just for Ukraine, it's for Europe.
Yeah.
But it was quite an emotional one. And I think they felt it. And that is one of the reasons they said, we are training some personnel that will actually assist. Yes, it will escalate, except Russian decide to make a U-turn and draw back. But if they don't, with this trip,
but Dr. Ibe said NATO is bringing war to his doorstep. Therefore, Russia cannot afford to be looking. So we have a very serious two opposing.
NATO is not bringing any war to his doorstep. Russia has been given a long time to do things differently. And you don't expect to be bombing a nation and the person will fold his hands and be watching you. Do you understand? Russia is a very big and strong power. They should have done things differently. And this man, Zelenskyy, has waited and done a lot of things, but it's obvious that Russia is not taking aback in their decision in bringing down Ukraine. And that is why he has taken this step. And Europe has made their decision to help.
Okay.
And
let me ask from Mark in Milan. Mark, you live in Italy, and you saw how Zelenskyy was well received, even though he went home without any physical promise of jet fighters. But you will know that is a diplomatic coup which is working for him. And do you see this to bring the Russian power to a reduction, or even Russia is likely to escalate it because Zelenskyy has gone the next step, and we know the rule of escalation. Russia is likely to go on a higher, and that may mean nuclear war, and it may mean Third World War. Well, how do you see it, Mark?
Yes, Russia is trying to escalate it again. As yesterday, we had more tanks are trooping into Russia. Anyway, Zelenskyy was in the European Union. In his speech, he actually said Russia is trying to wipe them out of the surface of the earth. And he outlined how he sees Europe as the continent that could step in rules, values, equity, and fairness. And he made a lot of speech directed to the European Union. Opening the session, the European Union Parliament President, Roberta Metsola, said to Zelenskyy that they understand that he's not fighting a war all on his own. It's for value and it's for humanity. But like you said, they've not made so much promises. This is the first time that Zelensky is coming to the European Parliament as a person. Other times he has been addressing them from a virtual network. Now, the thing is, as at yesterday, while all this meeting was going on, yes, Russia was bringing in more tanks. Russia is importing tanks from neighboring countries, is bringing tanks like the information said. And we are actually thinking this might escalate further. We don't want this. We don't want this, but
Okay.
this is how it's going.
All right. Let me come back to Dr. Ibe. Dr. Ibe, Zelensky said that this war is about saving the democracy and lifestyle of Europeans, and that that is what it's all about. Is this? Do you agree with him?
I don't agree with him. I believe that it's as Massive Mark said, they've clearly said this is not a Ukrainian war. It's a Russian NATO war. So him saying he's fighting to defend Ukraine. It's more like Ukraine is caught in the crossfire among two great geopolitical rivals. That's number one. Number two, if you flash back a little bit, you realize that even the United Nations have reported that lots of people were killed in the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic, Russian-speaking people who consider themselves Russians. And then there was no talk about defending values and way of life. Number three, if you talk about closeness, apart from the political class embracing and hugging themselves, that's a farce. Because Russians are much more closer to Ukrainians than Ukrainians are to Brussels. And they share similar language, share similar culture. So obviously they are much more closer. And then they take what's happening in Ukraine as an existential threat. They take it much more closer to their heart. So they are ready to invest much more. Also, I would like to remind you that the US have openly said that Russia has not invested a lot in this war. Russia doesn't need to go nuclear to close up what's going on in Ukraine. Nuclear is if something happens to the Russian border in accordance to their military doctrine. They have a nuclear doctrine. It's well spelled out there. To the letter, what exactly can incite a nuclear war? It's well written out there. They don't need to. In fact, according to the US, they haven't even invested 30% of what they have into this conflict. Meanwhile, we have people who have been mobilized, 300,000 people. According to the West, they say more than 300,000 people have been mobilized, but those people have not been used. So what you have even much more reserves than the people taking part. And then you have tanks. So yesterday was publicized openly of how the ex-president was at the military industry talking about the president's order to produce 1,000 new tanks. So you have, first of all, and then also the West claims that Russia has a stockpile of 10,000 tanks, and then it's able to sustain a military round of 70,000. That is more than what NATO produces in a year. So there's a lot. They don't need to go nuclear to escalate anything. The mission has been very, very clear. Initially, there was a belief that there would be some negotiation with at the initial stages of the war. And then it escalated to the point of destruction of infrastructure and defense of liberation of Donbass and Lugansk. And if you look at other people who are in the military, like Colonel Douglas McGregor, Scott Ritter, and these are all military guys, US military guys, not Russian guys, not me. If you listen to them, they will tell you that everybody they talk to in Pentagon believes that the war has been won a long time ago. This is just the aftermath. The thing has been decided a long time ago, and most of these things, even Zelensky has said that what is being supplied will not make a difference. These are his words.
Okay. One quick question, and I will change this topic.
Yeah, they are
one
being
quick
supplied.
question: do you think the EU will give Ukraine a fast way to become one of their members?
I don't think so, because it will lead to a lot of migration risk, number one. Number two, as much as you put a lot of things on paper, nobody really wants their country to be involved in the conflict directly. I heard a British politician, when you asked about the supply of plane, he said he used the F word to say no. Really saying that he doesn't want any of his plane. So there's a lot about just for the sake of supply. And when you actually know, you actually agree and admit openly that it makes no difference to the war, but yet you still go ahead. So it only leads to more suffering and prolongation. Once again, I said these are statements of the West, not my statement or Eastern statement, but these are well openly publicized statements of the West.
Okay, let me switch over to something beautiful from Russia. Your country produced Miss Universe. Tell us more.
Yes. It's great
She's
news.
Beautiful. Biddy, you think she's beautiful?
Yes.
Biddy.
She's a beauty.
She's downstairs. The lady is beautiful. I am telling you, I just loved her. I can't help but keep watching her. Now, Dr. Shegue, do you know something? Look at this girl. I wish every Nigerian will watch this Miss Universe and learn something. If this girl was to be an African or Nigerian to be precise, she wouldn't have made this. She's a mother of two. She's 34 years old. Do you understand? Nigeria, they would have pulled her down and say, what are you going there to do? Are you not old? You have a child. But this lady, she has changed the narrative of what beauty should be.
Now, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Ebe, I'm coming back to you. Let me just ask Biddy. Do you think Nigerians still live in these let me cover my own so that nobody else will see her? Is that the way the culture has gone? Let's use our mouth to put the women down so that we will keep their sanctity. Nobody will go and woo her and befriend her. Is that the reason why this old culture of you are a married woman, you have children, why should you go for Miss Universe? Is it because the men are selfish in Nigeria?
Not just selfish. Their insecurity is the word. It's not just selfish. They're very, very insecure. Yes, they wouldn't want anybody to see her. They wouldn't want you to dress well. The thing is, in this part of the world,
No, you didn't say it completely. They wouldn't want to see her wearing bikini. Is that what you wanted to say?
God bless you. But they will watch the woman, another woman wearing that bikini. They will admire her and they will call her names. But their eyes is always on her. But they wouldn't want their own to wear it. I'm telling you, apart from the men, the society generally, they will badmouth you. They will kill that thing in you, your ego, your self-esteem. They will remind you that you're 30. What are you going to do there? It's for children. You're an old woman. Do you understand?
Biddy, Massive Mark, just give me 1 minute. I want to ask Biddy another thing. What do they look at when they are choosing Miss Universe? Because somebody once told me many years ago, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So what statistics do they look for? I don't know. Who am I? I don't know anything about women. You know what I'm talking about?
Now, when we talk beauty, we look at that's outside beauty, not just it. She's a beautiful lady, but she's beautiful intelligently. Emotionally.
My question is, how do we determine a beautiful lady? Is it that she must have curves, or she must be slim, or what should the chest look like and the bum? Are those things we look to in the beauty of a woman?
Yeah, it's part of it. But when you have the curves, when you have the shape, when you have the height, and you don't have the brain, my dear, you're not beautiful. Yes.
Okay, we're looking for when you will be the next. Maybe you will be the next Miss Universe. Let me ask Mark in Milan. Mark, how did you copy this one? I mean, Russia is giving us beauty. What else can we ask from Russia?
Not allow me.
Yes, Russia is giving us beauty. A mother of two, an entrepreneur. Listen, she has some great qualities there that made her this. She's a professional driver.
Wow.
Yes, a professional driver. She came up on top of all the criteria. So Miss Elena, Mrs. With two children like you saw. now Miss International. So that the event took place in Sofia, Bulgaria, and it was done in such a way that um, it attracted a lot of participants, 120 participants, 120,
Wow.
yes, from across the world selected, all in between the ages of 18 and 55. And
55.
yes, 55. And the marital
That will
status,
not survive in Nigeria.
was not an it was not an
Was not
issue.
an issue.
Yes, yes.
You
So
even can be widowed.
yes, you even can be
You even
widowed.
can be widowed.
So this lady we saw was born into a poor family from a village in Russia, Udmurt Republic. I don't know how you pronounce that. Udmurt Republic.
Yes.
Yes, and she grew from that poor situation. Her father was a director of a local factory, and she climbed up. She was just very, very, very determined. She
Okay,
surprised a lot.
okay. Let's hear from the man who lives in Russia. Dr. Ebe,
Yeah.
I've decided to keep you deliberately for this moment. Tell us, how did the Russian society, how did they accept her? How did they accept this news? How did they? I know many Nigerian men will be rushing to Russia to go and look for wives now.
You know, there's this popular joke, you know, that if you want the best salary, you go to the US. You want the best house, you go to Britain. You want the best wife, you go to Russia. It's a popular
It's my
joke.
first time of hearing it.
Oh my God! You know how many American men or even Europeans really marry Russians, and I also like to say Ukrainians as well. But since we are focusing on Russia for today, but this is a trend which has been occurring for a long time. Even the ex-president of the United States has a wife who is of Slavic origin, by the way. So it's not something. It's not something new. But what is impressive is that how the Russians taking it. They were happy, but at the same time surprised that this could happen, especially considering the old cancel culture we're seeing everywhere. Exceptions of Russian athletes and performers from different competitions. So it's like wow, the world is becoming sane again, and our talents are allowed to compete and all of that. So it's a thing of both happiness, mixed happiness and shock. But she's definitely very pretty and deserves to win. And by the way, they check beauty, you don't necessarily have to be married. You can be widowed, but you have in the age gap of divorced, but between 18 to 55, like massive matters.
Wow. It's beautiful that something good has come that we're not bickering about.
Yeah.
Yes,
can I add something? Can I add something quickly? About what BG said about men and all of that. It's just been a few decades that men and women have been able to work together. We are not very experienced in this field. All throughout the centuries gone by, the role of women and men have been much more distinct till, let's say, after the Second World War, let's say from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then this change. And that's basically because of two things. The first one is the discovery of the birth control pill, which allowed women to be able to control their reproductivity. And the second one is the sanitary pad, which allowed women to not be absolutely unuseful on some days of the month. And these two technological developments.
Our viewers who are not yet married, they know where to go look for wives now. Thank you very much, Dr. Ibe. You will be their first point of contact. Bidi, or you still want to say something, because I want to move this topic.
Yeah, I actually want to say something about this Miss Universe. I wish Nigerians see if this lady was to be a Nigerian, they will find something to disqualify her because she's married. They will tell you, because I had an issue. I worked with one beauty pageant association one certain time about 4 years ago. and the person who was winning was actually married. So they were like, to perform her function very well as the winner, she might be limited because she's married, like what Dr. Ibe said, she might be menstruating, she might get pregnant. So because of that, they have to disqualify her. And look at here, we'll have a Miss Universe who is married with kids. I'm telling you, in Nigeria, they might look twice before they'll give
But
her
that is that not the Nigeria of yesteryears? Nigeria has moved on. We now do Big
They've
Brother
moved
house. We now
on. Yeah, they've moved on, but I'm telling you what is obtainable here in winning it.
Or will
Yeah,
it
it's
not be
not
the
just
husband who will be jealous? Come on, Biddy. The husband will be jealous that his wife has now taken over the center stage. She's now the ambassador to the UN. She's ambassador to a product. She's a millionaire.
apart from his her husband, the body will say that she will be limited to perform her duty as the
Biddy.
winner.
Wait. Let's say this thing. There was once a bread seller who was nobody in Nigeria. She was discovered, she was pumped up, and she became a celebrity, advertising, and eventually her marriage collapsed. Is that what you're saying? You
It's
remember
not
the
what I'm
girl I'm talking about?
saying. I know her. Where is she? She's no longer in the limelight. That is a total different thing. What I'm talking about, winning a pageant in Nigeria and you're a married woman with kids, they might not give you the position. You might merit it, but a lot of things they might say that you will be limited in performing your duty as a winner because you have home to look up to. Do you understand? It's been happening in this country. And I
Massive
believe
Mark,
my own is
Massive Mark,
they
in these
might they
few
need to
minutes
change.
before we go on a short break, do you really believe in what Biddy is saying that Nigeria has moved on?
Yes, I'm with you on this. Nigeria has moved on. You talked of the Big Brother, and there are very explicit things going on there in the Big Brother, and people are watching it, and people even like those explicit things. Very,
Big Brother is totally
you know,
different from what we are
and
talking about because
and it is those explicit people, the ones
No,
that
it's
come out.
not.
Yeah?
Big Brother is totally different. Before you come into
No,
Big
no,
Brother,
no.
you sign.
It's the same thing. It's the mentality now that is
It's not the
changing. No,
same
what
thing.
you're saying,
Big Brother,
what you're
you're
saying,
secluded for 3 months in a
what you're
particular
probably
place.
saying, what I will suggest is what you're saying is probably some years back. I mean, it is even the explicit ones, the vulgar ones in the Big Brother that wins the crown.
Yeah,
Remember,
most likely.
Shalom, let me say
Biddy,
something. Let me say
say
something.
something, Biddy.
Big
Yeah.
Brother is totally different from what we're talking about. Big Brother, when you're coming into that house, you're signing for the laws and ethics of that house, and you're going to be there for that period. You understand? But when you win these contents, these pageants, you will be traveling. You'll be going from one place to the other. So they put those things into consideration as a
So you
marriage.
think the Nigerian husband cannot accommodate that? She's going to be a millionaire. She's going
And
to
it's
be
not
taking
about
the
the
husband.
husband now. We've talked about the husband insecurity. That one is a different. I'm talking about our system.
Our
Our
society,
system. Yes.
your
They can
mother-in-law, the father-in-law, and all of them.
exactly. They will not give it to that married woman because they feel she'll be limited in
She will
performing
settle the
her duty as
mother-in-law
the
with
winner.
money and a car. What do you think? Okay. But finally, on this matter, Dr. Ibe, what I mean, Biddy brought the Nigerian factor. What was the outcome of that former bread seller who was made a celebrity? She became a model and and we are no longer hearing about her. The last time I heard about her was that her husband became so small, so little, and the marriage crumbled, and many Nigerians will not want that.
Well, I won't ask you the name because it's obvious that it's not something we want to say on air. But let's just say that the problem with this, I'm for, of course, equal opportunities for both genders. But the problem we've often found in this situation is that and it doesn't work every time. You only see this fight in the corridors of power and for big money projects. You won't see it for military service. You won't see it for being a driver. You won't see this competition for bricklaying and all of that. The the distribution to men on the side of men is much more.
So this
I believe that.
Sorry to cut in. So this Miss Universe is going to go higher and higher and higher in the Russian society. Nobody's going to pull her down. No mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law.
Women have been emperors. Women have been emperors. We have Emperor Katrina. She's been an emperor in Russia. Okay. There's nothing like this feminism movement in Russia. No. It's not.
They are all independent and working well.
Yeah, the women even work harder, actually. Honestly, sometimes I meet a lot of them and I say, how do you do it? They actually work hard because they work and then they come home and they still do the home activity. Why is this joke popular? Why is this joke popular about the best wife? I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying, why is the joke popular that the best wife is a Russian? It's because of this ability to combine.
Okay, I'm coming to visit you in Moscow this year, not because of the women, but I will come with what you are telling us. We'll be right back. We're going on a short break. When we return, the earthquake from hell, how are they doing in Turkey and Syria? Please don't go away. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, ADC, now the party for you. Party for you and me.
Yes, ADC arise, ADC arise, ADNC arise and shine Nigeria. ADC stands for belief, passion, ideas and creativity in nation building. We are value driven and just in our ways, thoughtful and forthright. We serve with integrity, confidence and commitment. ADC is the royalty in politics. Stand with ADC today. ADC is the future.
ADC,
arise and shine.
Oh yeah, Nigeria go better. If you vote ADC, plenty work go day. Make you vote ADC. ADC na the party for you. Party for you.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrate an Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle, inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment, a better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen.
Thanks for staying with us. This is Newer News Echoes on World Affairs. We give you information, analysis, so that you can have an informed opinion. We are spread all over the world. Someone is in Russia, another in Italy, and we have an African colleague. And so we are spread all over the world. We can bring you the best in analysis. Unfortunately, the world was rocked with a massive earthquake in northern Syria and Turkey. As at the last count, 25,000 people have died, and many people, many families are in shambles as we speak. Many countries have sent in help, but what help? After 5 days in darkness, in crumbles, no life is supposed to be alive there anymore. Well, time of survival has come to an end, Mark, isn't it?
Yes. Let's see a glimpse of what happened.
Aman yarabbi aman, aman yarabbi aman. İçeride insan vardı ya, niye çıkmadınız? Allahu Ekber. Bırak ne abi? Ya gerizekalı. İnsan vardı içeride. Ya dedik geçelim dışarı. Yok. Lan insan vardı. Abi. Bak, rende kala bak. Bak, rende kala bak. Gelme.
It's a sad situation, Mark.
Very sad, Dr. Shagun. So this is what it is. As at last night, the death toll has climbed up to 21,000 from the Turkey-Syria earthquake. Human rights groups criticize the timing and the content of United Nations and what they are doing to help in this situation. Also, we've had that almost I think from the Turkey end, we have 17,000 people, 17,674. And from the other end, the Syria authority said 3,377 people are dead. United Nations is sending aid, but they say it's slow and it's not sufficient, it's coming late. Also, there's search for survivors. This is the fourth day. This is the fifth day after the quake. The window to survival is beginning to close. A lot of people probably have died under the rubble. Relatives that are trapped under the rubble have waited for aid to come and nobody's helping. They are watching helplessly as many cry from under the rubble. Turkey President Erdogan has pleaded to the world, to people, nations, everybody, organizations to come help them. And this is what is happening in Turkey. Sad situation, Dr. Shah.
Biddy, how do you copy from Lagos? One thing that I heard as soon as it happened here in the United Kingdom was the British government sent in 77 helpers, rescuers, and that they started donating money. But they said a part of Syria is ungoverned. And that took me straight to Nigeria. Oh, what part of Nigeria is ungoverned that the international governments would not want to go into that place? Part of Syria, that northern Syria, is ungoverned, which means wild people, thieves, robbers, abductors, kidnappers could be operating there. And that means no help could go there. So how did you copy all of this from Nigeria?
It's very, very unfortunate for the Syria. If such things should happen in Nigeria, more than half part of Nigeria is ungoverned. So it would be a very terrible situation. And you know what's happened in Turkey, I really copy something from that. Their rescue team, the government, everybody is working hand in hand to see to the good of what is happening there. If it was in Nigeria, what you will see is blame game. The different political party, the opposition, they will be in the pages of newspaper and the television sets, blaming game, shifting game, rather than coming together to see to the good of what is happening in their country. That is one thing I'll copy from there. But for the Syria, it is heartbreaking because if it happens in Nigeria, the same thing, because half of part of Nigeria is ungoverned. So it might make it very, very impossible for international world to come in to give their arm and to rescue the people that need to rescue. And you know, there's this thing I read about Turkey. I don't know, maybe if that country should not be there. You know, they say that Turkey is, if you watch the world, that they are in the center of the world. Do you understand? They are in the center of the world. So I was asking question, does it mean that a country should not be there? Because this kind of earthquake that's taking over 2,000 people and it's still taking. And God is, honestly, people, I hardly watch those videos. I see a lot of them, but I couldn't even watch it. And
I'm not a geographer, but I know that if there is a weak line fault in an area, that place will always attract tremor, and that tremor will now lead to what we call earthquake, and therefore everything will shake. Everything that is built on it will now crumble like a pack of cards, and that is what is being experienced in Turkey and northern Syria. Almost every country has got line of fault, and that is the problem. What I studied there was that the property, the landed property in those areas, they are very cheap. So only poor people will go and buy land there, build houses there. So anytime there is an earthquake, mostly the people that die become the poor people of the area, because the properties are very cheap in there, cheaper than where there is no earthquake line fault. When you look at where there will never be an earthquake, only rich people buy land there, and so the prices are very high. Medium and low and poor people will go and buy where it is cheaper, without them knowing that it could be flooded, it could be earthquake. Anywhere that could be flooded is always cheaper. So poor people are destined. Sorry,
there's the negligence of governments in that area. If they know that that place are prone to earthquaking, and they're selling it to the poor people.
Yeah, but that's the colonial legacy left in Nigeria. I can say that of Nigeria. The colonial legacy is that anywhere that could be flooded, that could have earthquake, the colonial district masters, who are the British colonialists, will never put the British houses there, colonial houses. You will see them in very posh areas that they have done a good survey that is not an area. So in Nigeria, you discover that the former district officers' offices and houses, they are always on a hill. They are always on a hill for two reasons. They are sure that there will not be earthquake that will affect them. They are sure that flood will not affect them. Thirdly, they are sure to see the masses if they are revolting and wanting to come up, so they can shoot them. Yes, security. So they can shoot them from the top, so that they will never get to that place. And so when rich people started surfacing indigenously, then they too started buying houses where the colonial masters have left or are living. So that's why you will not see rich man buying houses where there are fault lines. Whether the government should have stopped everybody from buying houses there or not, I don't know why government is not doing that. Here in Britain, places where could be flooded, they are very cheap. So you want to buy a property here, they say it's £50,000. When other places they are going for 200,000. Think twice. You might be buying a flood prone area. Massive Mark, I don't know what's going on in Italy there.
Yes, most parts of Europe also falls on that fault line. Italy has it too. Spain is on that line. So it's not only Turkey. The thing now is, like you said, people, those places that are prone to such occurrence should not be open to people buying property and owning landed property there. So, but sometimes you find that they still do, and when the commotion comes, lives go. So that's the sad thing. But you put it well. You're not a geographer, but you said it well, Dr. Shegun. You put it out well. Yes.
Well,
what you said is true.
Well, on behalf of Schengen News, we want to send our condolences to those families in Syria and Turkey, and we encourage everyone to donate generously. The British government has said that they will match any grant up to £5 million with another £5 million. So if the rich people in England could donate £5 million, the British government will additionally put £5 million apart from all the money they have spent before. So we are encouraging everybody all over the world, whatever you can contribute. I'm told nothing is too small. I'm sure all of these are happening in other countries. Biddy, I want to give you the last talk on this. What's the last thing you want to add to this?
Yeah, I think the people should actually come, and people have been donating, even in Nigeria here. I know the Nigerian government has not actually come out to make any donation or make it open. But I know Nigerians individually, they've been donating, and people will still donate, because nobody that will see the sight of what is happening in Turkey or Syria that will not be touched. or that thing is happening to them. They did not do anything differently. It can happen to anyone. And when
That's
you
good
see
to
those
know.
little children, when you see mothers, when you see children are left in this earth alone, all the family members are gone. The one they just rescued after 90 hours, I was like, this is God. A mother and a child was rescued after 90 hours. I was like, this God is too much. And you see how they are bringing people from rumbles who will not be touched to donate. Please, people should donate. Let's extend our arms of help to people of Turkey and Syria. They need our
Yeah,
help. They
that's
need
right.
us to come
Thank you
through.
very much. Well, you've just listened to a leader of an NGO in Nigeria who we know is committed to donating to the masses. Mark, is there anything you want to add? Because I know Germany has the largest number of Turkish in the whole world, and they are doing
Yes.
something big. Yeah.
Yeah, they are doing something big. Everybody is going to do something big. Yes, as at yesterday, the president Eduardo had said, this is the damage exceeds about $4 billion.
Yeah.
That's what he said. We know many countries, many organizations will come and help fellow human beings. Fellow
Okay.
human.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have to move on. In the United Kingdom, a member of parliament was jailed for stealing or attempting to steal £52,000. He was trying to claim money that he had not spent on uh, British matters, but money that he has spent on cocaine and a lavish lifestyle. He used to be a Labour MP, but is now languishing in jail. I read this one and I say, will this ever happen in Africa? Massive mark.
Yes, we're seeing a former MP there, Gerald O'Mara, jailed for over fraudulent expenses. The former MP will go for 4 years for deliberate dishonesty. He was said to be using government money, taxpayers' money, to fund his cocaine and alcohol-driven lifestyle. So yes, I like you're bringing up this. Will this ever happen in Nigeria? That's why we're also saying this. So the young man, 41 years old, who represented a constituent in the Sheffield Hallman from 2017 to 2019, brought fake invoices. He brought fake invoices, and the jury found him very, very. I mean, there was nothing to hide. He also, alongside with him, are also his chief of staff and two other people that were sentenced to 5 months suspended. Someone was had a suspended sentence for 2 years, and now he has to go in for 4 years. So interesting story. Reasons why we say this, like you said, is because we need to emulate such things. I mean, there has to be transparency in governance.
Yeah, Biddy, you think it will happen in your country?
If it's happening in my country, we won't be where we're at today. When I read that story, exactly. When I read that story, I was like, this is a country that wants to survive. This is a country that wants to grow. You know, is it the striking thing about that man's case, the LP, the judge, it's not just about him, it's just about his dishonesty. It's about his lawyer. Did you hear me? It's about his lawyer, his barrister, the person he hired to defend him, gave him up. He said, I've warned him about his reckless life.
Wow.
Now, the problem we have in Nigeria is judiciary. Do you understand? They will defend you, even when they know that you are destroying the lives of Nigerians, they will defend you.
And your cultural people will come out and dance in front of the court.
I am telling you, but this is a society where things are working. This is a society that wants to grow. This is a society that wants to offer their best to their country. This barrister said it. I've warned him, his way of life, his cocaine intake, his alcohol intake is about to destroy him. Who will hire a lawyer in this country? And the lawyer dare say anything contrary to what that would defend them? My dear,
Well, we know that some people are still very loyal and defending James Ibori up till today.
exactly the point I'm making. Exactly
Yeah,
the
up
point
till
I'm making.
today.
You
They
understand?
jailed the wrong man. He wasn't there. He's a man. He's a man. He has developed our town.
That is
Well,
it. As far
well,
as in this country, in this part of the world, in my country, as far as people are benefiting from you, it's not called corruption. It's called connection.
That's
When
correct.
it's
wow.
when it's against them, it becomes a corruption. When it benefits them, it becomes
Well
connection.
said.
And
Well
they will
said.
define that connection to any level with everything in them. And look
In
at
the
this
in
man.
Yeah.
He has not even taken the money. It's just a receipt. He
Yeah.
tendered, and he has gone in for that.
That's fraudulent already. Yeah.
If
He
we start
presented
doing
it.
such in Nigeria, I'm telling you, in the next 10 years, people will ask, which country is this?
Uh, well, the reason why we brought it up is for African countries to learn, our African viewers to learn how these things work. Because if you had collected that 52,000 pounds, that's the hospital he has stolen, that's the infrastructures he has stolen. That is so many things is going to that will be denied of the people.
That
Well,
is
we
that
just
is peanuts from what our people steals here. More than
yeah.
that, is just peanuts,
Here in
and
England, a few years ago, they jailed
they'll get
two
free with it.
MPs, two members of parliament. They jailed them for attempting to claim £2,500. £2,500, and I was just shaking my head that this can happen in Africa. Well, we hope we are learning lesson little by little. Let's still talk about the United Kingdom. The Synod of the Church of England approved the blessing of same-sex marriage. I don't know whether people know the difference between the wedding of same-sex marriage or the blessing. Let me explain it because of my vantage position. Now, when two people come together, especially man and woman, and they cannot be allowed to marry for whatever reason, the Church of England and indeed the British government will simply say, look, we cannot allow you to get married according to our law and regulations, but if you want to get the church blessing, we will allow you. Come into the church, kneel down before the vicar, he will lay hands on you and bless you. Now, he will not pronounce you man and wife, but he will bless your union. You will go back home and you'll be living together. That is the meaning of blessing, but not necessarily marriage. So the Church of England says that we still cannot wed a man and a man, a woman and a woman. But if they say they are living in union, we can bless them. We can lay hands on them and pray God's protection upon them. But that does not mean that we have wedded them. They have chosen to live together like they are married, but we are giving them our blessings, our prayer, our protection. That's the situation we find ourselves a few days ago when the Church of England said now all its branches could start giving blessing to same-sex couples, but not wedding them. So let me leave it to you, Massive Mark. What do you see from this?
It's so complicated. Very, very complicated. Now, what's in for blessing and still will not marry them? I mean, if you bless them, then you've married them. So it's a complicated one. The Church of England says it's okay for blessings of same-sex couple, but it still won't marry them. And there was that decisive debate for 2 days. On Thursday, yesterday, the decision was to keep it in the blessing. I don't know, Dr. Shago. It sounds so quiet, so we don't know what to say. Clergy members can opt not to use the prayers, but the church will maintain its ban on the same-sex marriage, he said. And we saw also some of those people there in the crowd. I don't know, Dr. Shago. I think it's a fulfillment of, from the biblical point of view, is a fulfillment of what will be happening at this time of humanity. In the last days, there shall be strange things. Men shall be going after strange flesh. And
Well, at the at the at the at I really don't know how to say this one. I was in the tube a few days ago, going home from a function, and I saw a girl of about 18 and a girl of about 21, middle of the tube that was crowded, rush hour, and both of them were busy kissing one another. Of course, if it has been a boy and a girl kissing one another, that has been all over the place. If it has been same sex kissing one another at pubs and clubs, we have seen millions of that over the years. But in the tube with these two, they just did not know that others were watching them, and they were busy kissing one another and smiling. And well, is what we see in the civilized world. And they want to put this kind of civilization on Africa. Is Bidi still there with us? I want to see.
Bidi is not there.
Okay, I want to. I would have loved to know. Do you think this will permeate our culture and society in the next few years?
Yes, there's a strong attempt to get it over to Africa. They are trying that through Ghana, because they know once.
But Ghana will never do that.
Yes, Ghana will never do that. But with the information I got is some MPs are almost nodding to the idea. We know once it gets into Ghana, it begins to penetrate other parts of Africa. But
it's got to South Africa. South Africa approved it. Same-sex marriage, but then others will never. Zambia, Zimbabwe is so close to South Africa, but they will never accept it. Kenya will never accept. Of course, Nigeria. If you try it in Nigeria, it's 14 years. Even when you are their best man, they give you 12 years.
But they are practicing it on the down low. It's not constitutionally accepted, but it's happening.
If you are charged in Nigeria with such things, you're going down for 14 years. That's the law. That law was made under Jonathan, and it has not been cancelled. And I don't think it will be cancelled for a long time. The Nigerian government and Nigerian society has not yet metamorphosed into that kind of situation. I mean, this is a culture. I mean, the African society and culture. This is a culture that approves one man, many wives, that we call
bigamy.
No, not bigamy. Bigamy is formally marrying two wives. Formally marrying two wives when you should not do that. But in Nigeria, you can be polygamous, and polygyny should have been the right concept. That is one man marrying many women. And polyandry, one woman marrying many men. But in the case of Nigeria, we call it polygamous, and one man is acceptable by the culture to marry many women as long as he has the money. Even Islam permits it as long as you have the means. So people are saying, why should the African culture substitute polygamy for homosexuality? They said it doesn't make sense to them. I mean, these are...
It's okay. I think we have to go now.
We have to go.
Yes,
well,
sir.
It's my duty to thank you, Massive Mark, to thank Bidi Nana, to thank Dr. Ibe and the crew in Italy for showing us. And we'll see you next Wednesday when we bring you new news and analysis. My name is